Hello, everybody. My name is Christopher Saunders, and this is the Connecticut Sports Talent Show, where we talk all things talents in Connecticut. And I've got not one, but two guests, as yesterday I had a basketball player, Terrence Stevens, from Wolcott, but this time I'm heading over to the baseball ranks, as I have both the head coach and a player as well who plays multiple positions. First, I've got, pardon me, Craig Prasauskis. He's the head coach of the Wolcott Eagles. Coach, say hello.
Hi, everybody.
And then I've got AJ Martinez, who's a pitcher, also an outfielder, and a first baseman. Probably catches too on the side as well during bullpens and such. AJ, I appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me.
I'll stick with AJ first because he and I were going back and forth a little bit about the team this year. You were telling me 13 seniors coming back, and in a lot of ways, when I think of teams that make deep runs, or kind of like, I don't know if you watch college basketball, but March Madness, right? I've noticed a lot of the teams that have success, even the ones that are not the big, sexy blue blood, programs, right? It's the teams that have a lot of seniors, a lot of veteran leadership. Do you think having this amount of seniors is a great positive thing for the program as you guys expect to make a deep run this year?
Oh, yeah, 100%. The team has a lot of experience. They know what it's like to be in pressure situations, especially say last year we had a part of the season where we were going downhill because we got hot early on, but then we started to cool off and then we got hot again. We already know how to handle that, especially having all the seniors. So I think that's going to be a really good positive for us this year.
I'll go to Coach here. Now, Coach, this is your second year with Wolcott, correct?
That's correct. Yep.
So now with you kind of, and have you coached anywhere previously before Wolcott, or was this your first head coaching job?
Yeah. Before Wolcott, I was at Thomaston for 2 years.
Okay. So you were kind of familiar, although not in the NVL. You probably knew about the NVL to a certain degree as far as the level of play that baseball was, correct?
Oh, absolutely. I'm from Watertown. I went to Watertown High. So yeah, I grew up in the NVL.
Really? Okay. I used to live in Watertown myself. My father actually graduated from Watertown. So you know about Rico Bronya and all those kind of guys, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So
Rico's good. Yep.
So with you being able to kind of bring that experience and that knowledge back in your days from Watertown and now bring it over to Wolcott, which is not really that far away when you think about it. What were kind of the expectations that you had from last year, and have any of them carried over to this year? I know it's early on, but just kind of give me your thoughts there.
Well, just as like something you've already touched on, the amount of kids that are back, that had a lot of experience. Even like AJ played his sophomore year. We've had a couple kids that they got 2 or 3 years of varsity experience under them. So with that being said, like for me, with my second year here, this is I said it with our parents meeting the other night. For AJ, this is the first year he's had where he's had the same coach for 2 consecutive years. So I'm hoping that like with it's me and all the other coaches on our staff, the kids are hearing the same message so there's consistency with that. And that's not a problem for us. We're fortunate where, yeah, with all the amount of kids that we have back, with the experience, we have like leaders on and off the field that make it easy for us as coaches. And AJ is one of them. AJ is one of our captains. So we have all the trust in the world in him, and Joe Ferrucci and Andrew Rocca, to do things right, whether we're there or not, on the field, off the field, in school. So that part of the game has become easy, I think, for us. We have great leadership from our upperclassmen since we have so many. AJ is a kid who leads by example. So that's one thing that helps with kids that do it on the field and off the field. So that when it comes to the kids that are coming up the ranks, they see that. And so I'm hoping that builds our program as a whole.
I'll stay with Coach here. Now, with it being, again, your second season, you having a more familiarity with the kids and such, right? And also returning back so many seniors and probably a lot of the varsity players as well.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like kind of like your coaching style, not to say that you weren't willing to give them opportunities, but because now with the familiarity, now it's okay. If there's a runner on second with 2 outs, maybe you're more willing to, on a 3-0 count, give the green light to certain players because you've seen it over the course of last year. Does that make any sense as far as your coaching style this year?
Oh yeah, because the kids they're used to me. Um, I consider myself like a player coach. I'm not a yeller and screamer or anything like that. We have great interactions. We have great rapport. The communication's there, goes both ways. But when it comes to having kids for a second year in the program, knowing what they can do, knowing what they're comfortable with, like the example you just gave. Um, a lot of the kids with a lot of playing time last year, knowing when a spot might be too big, where they kind of go above and beyond what they usually do. Kind of getting them to step out of the box a little bit. Some kids can do it, some kids can't. Some kids are comfortable doing it, and that's year two. I'm more comfortable in knowing what any of our kids can handle. So to answer your question, that year two, the comfort level is higher with certain situations.
I'll go to AJ here. Now, with you playing so many positions, which one is your main position, or do you even have one?
I don't really have a main position. My whole life I've kind of been put where whatever fit the team best, depending on the team. If you had a big first baseman who he had a bat but he couldn't move, so we put him at first, and I went to left, and that was just something that always happened throughout my whole career. So I'm comfortable anywhere, kind of.
So with you being on the bump, is that a spot where, are you the most comfortable, or is it playing a position that you're most comfortable?
I consider like pitching and playing a position two completely different things.
Mhm.
Like when I look at baseball, I see hitting, fielding, and then pitching. Because ever since a kid, I've been pitching. So each time of practice, like I have a certain time for this, certain time for that. So I never viewed it together. So I will also say pitching is considered one of my main positions too.
So it almost sounds to me as if even at a young age that you were already having a structure of, okay, I'm going to focus on fielding for this amount of time, hitting for this amount of time. I'll pitch for this amount as well if there's time left in practice, but you never really kind of spent an entire practice just doing one thing. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. And I think that's smart. Not many young players typically do that. They usually just focus on, okay, I'm just going to pitch and that's it. Or I'm just going to swing, but not even worry about the other stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Because even as a kid, like just seeing the game of baseball, it was always like, why would I just want to pitch or just want to hit? Like, why not do it all? Especially if I'm athletic enough, like, why not? So,
Well, I think it's also good too, and I'll go to coach in a second here, but for you to be able to not just pitch, but also play first and play the outfield, it gives your head coach and the rest of the team an opportunity to be able, almost like this super utility, Shohei Ohtani type, right? You can play the field, you can pitch, you can do whatever, but it gives the opportunity where, okay, AJ's done pitching, right? You hit your pitch limit, or maybe, you're just, 20 pitches, 30 pitches, whatever. You're gassed, right? You're tired. All right, well, we're going to put you in the outfield. All right, next spot goes in. But they also don't lose your bat, right? Because if you were to be taken out to be, for pitching and you're done, then you can't hit. But now with you being able to stay in the outfield or wherever, it gives you an opportunity to be able to stay in the game and also stay focused as well.
yep, exactly.
So I'll go to coach here now. Now, with the kind of spring training part coming to a close, I know you guys just had a scrimmage against Taft, and AJ was telling me that it went pretty well. With the weather kind of being, as Mother Nature does, I saw it right during the NVL tournament time when it snowed in the quarterfinals, and that was tricky. And that was on a Saturday. Coincidentally enough, it could potentially rain on Saturday again. With the potential of games being pushed already, this early in the season, could that be a concern just because you want to get these kids out there? Because I know that they've been chopping at the bit to be able to play again.
The message, we talk to each other, as we're moving along with this week. We can only control, only worry about what we can control. It's like when it comes to the weather, it's New England weather. They can be talking about rain on Saturday. We're supposed to be playing at 11 a.m. It may rain at like 4. So we talked today after the scrimmage. All right, it's like the next time we kind of play for reals, it's supposed to be on Saturday. We're going to be prepared to play for Saturday. Early on in the year, it's like we're not asking our pitchers to go out there and throw and go max limit. It's like I see other teams doing that. I only worry about my kids, but early on, first couple of weeks of the season, it's cold. We're not built up to 100 pitches yet. I don't know who is. Each of the scrimmages we've had, like our starters have only gone a couple innings. So we're planning on piecing together games as it is anyway right now for the first week or two. So we're going to be using multiple arms, and that's what we've been doing. So even if it comes down to that and we have to kind of go by committee, if Mother Nature doesn't help us out, we're okay with that. And the kids are okay with that because, with the scrimmages, that's what we've had to do. We let somebody know. We kind of establish like what our rotation is going to look like for that game, and have a plan in mind, but we also have a backup plan in mind if things don't go the way we're hoping that they go.
So what it sounds like to me, Coach, and I don't know if you're familiar with what the Rockies did some years ago, where after a certain amount of pitches, they would take the player out, regardless of how well they were pitching or not, because they wanted to keep their arms fresh. And they would go to the bullpen, and they kept that same thing. It was almost like starting from going like 3 innings, and that was it. And sometimes that was the game plan. Not to give away too much, because I don't want other teams to be able to be like, after 3 innings, the starter's coming out. Like AJ's done after 2. Is that something potentially just early on? Because like you said, first couple of weeks, I mean, I'd be shocked if I saw pitch counts to hit 100 in the first month of the season because it's so early. And like you said, it's cold.
It's cold. And, it's I talked with, I know you've talked with Steve Boehner from Woodland, and we talk to each other a lot, just pick each other's brains about stuff. And we talk about pitching a lot. And both of us were kind of like, it's we want our kids fresh on May 1st, not April 1st. So that's what we're looking at. There's no reason to burn somebody out with their first or second start, and then when we get to the second half of the season, and then we start worrying about the tournament, and somebody's out of gas. So that's our goal. Is to protect the kids too. That's a big thing in our program. Is just to building our kids up, but also protecting them at the same time.
I'll go to AJ next. Now, again, I know it's early on, so obviously roles are probably going to be defined as the season goes on. But what is the potential for you as far as, are you going to be, quote unquote, at the college level, right? Are you going to be the Friday night guy, the Saturday night guy, the weekend guy? Are you coming out of the pen? Are you middle of the order? Where exactly are you going to be when games start?
When games start this season, I see myself probably being a starter, depending on how the schedule falls. So we have our 3 starters, and let's just say the week falls out like this or cancellations happen. Depending on the teams that we're playing, I trust coach's judgment. So it just depends, basically. Hitting wise, I see myself being same place where I was last season, putting in 3 whole RBI situations.
Now, you're a left-handed pitcher, correct? And you also bat from the left side, right?
Yep.
So from throwing off the bump, AJ, where do you what kind of pitches are you throwing?
This year, I'm throwing fastball, a little sinker, changeup, and a curveball.
Okay. Now, which one of those pitches would you say you have the most command of, and which one would you say is a pitch that you're still working on and tinkering with?
The pitch that I probably have the most command on would be the changeup. I learned that one at the youngest age, threw it day 1 on the mound, no arm strain. So the pitch that I'm probably working on will probably be the sinker still. It has the movement, but I'm just trying to figure out the location a bit.
Now, as a left-handed pitcher, because I'm a former lefty myself, I had the trouble of where I would throw across my body. I would stop myself, and then that led to a lot of misfiring per se, mainly to both the arm and the glove side, because it was hard to be able to be direct. Now, I have not seen video of you throw. I've only seen the video of you hitting. Do you have those same problems, or I hope your mechanics are a lot better?
Pitching wise, I focus on a lot of mechanics. So especially if I'm struggling. So if I'm struggling, it tends that I'm falling open, leaving my arm out. So then pitches would stay a bit outside. In order to help with that, which helps a lot, is that I draw a T on the mound. So it helps me mentally just picture a straight line to the plate, and it helps me keep my shoulder closed, especially with my off speed a lot. So that is probably how I work on that other stuff.
Now, when you're throwing, and I'll go to Coach with this next question after I ask you this one last one here during this process of this interview. When you're facing hitters, because also you're a hitter as well, so you kind of have an idea of what they're thinking, right? When you're attacking these guys, no matter if it's lefty, righty, if it's front door, back door, depending on the pitches, are you telling your catcher to kind of wait and not give away too much as far as the pitch? Because I know some catchers will set up and just sit there. And hitters have a sense. I mean, I've known hitters for a long time, and I've asked guys, and they say even though if they're not looking, they have a sense of when the catcher is right next to them, and then when they're if it's righty, if they're on the backdoor side of the plate. What are you doing there with your catcher?
I've been talking to him a lot recently. I've been working with him, and he's been. I don't think I've actually had to bring it up to him, but he's been staying solid and then moving last second as the pitch is coming. So that's something that I haven't really run into yet. But I definitely think about what the batter is thinking, especially on the fact that me being a lefty, and this helps a lot in a lefty-lefty matchup. I know where your thought process is on that inside pitch and the outside pitch. So yeah, it helps a lot, honestly.
I'll go to Coach here. And now, with you being a part of Wolcott now for the second season, Coach, and you coming again, you know about Watertown, those kids, when I was coming through playing for Oakville Junior Legion and played
Mhm.
and all that other stuff through the pipelines. I mean, those kids, obviously, they play multiple sports, but when it's baseball season, they eat, sleep, and breathe football, baseball, basketball, etc. With Wolcott, I felt like even when I played against them, same thing, right? Baseball players 100% focused. These kids are determined, they take it serious. Being a coach and now being able to see it, it's got to be a great thing for you.
It's definitely it's a different dynamic. The kids in the program right now are very self-motivated kids. We put them in spots, and they do every single thing we ask them to do. Starting with pitchers and catchers, doing that for the week, all the conditioning, and then for the last 2 weeks with all the team stuff going on, the kids do every single thing any coach asks them to do. Like our motto is just to be better today than we were yesterday. And they strive for that. Comparing like towns, like size of towns, like Watertown, Wolcott is very similar. And it's, growing up in Watertown, it's, when I played, you didn't know. Like Wolcott was a rival, it was a team you always wanted to beat. But then now being on the other side, like you see, like the kids they're just like we were, and they probably want it a little bit more. Like it's the self-motivation is the biggest thing that I was impressed with. When I was at Thomason, it was a good job to have. I was happy where I was. And I said, the only way I would leave this program is if, the Wolcott job opened up, the Watertown job opened up, or the Seymour job opened up where I work. Those would be the only programs. And the first one I said was Wolcott, and then sure enough, it opened up. And then here I am. And I love every minute of it. The kids are great kids. There's so much support for the team. When the team's going well, it seems like the whole town, the whole school gets behind them. Because we went on a nice run last year, won a bunch of games in a row, and then it's just the chatters all around. And it's a lot of fun. It's a great program to be a part of. I'm so happy to be part of it. I love the kids, and they just come to work and get better every single day.
Coach, I've got one more last question for you, and then last one for AJ. With this season again starting up on Saturday and hopefully being played first on Saturday, you mentioned some of the goals and kind of be better today than yesterday and such. What are the expectations? I know as your partner as far as at the middle school at Seymour, Coach Carfiello posted. Although they lost, I think it was in the semifinal, they had a list and they checked off boxes. Make the NVL tournament, get this far, do this, do that. And they checked every box except the last one. And I feel like that's going to be checked off at some point. Have you copied Carfiello at all as far as that little checkbox, that list?
I have that checkbox for me, but when I'm with the kids and my team, we just want to beat Naughty. That's all right now. That's all we're worried about right now. We lost to him twice last year, 2 extra inning games. Right now, we just want to beat Naughty. Win game 1. That's all.
I'll go to AJ here. Last question. Expectations for yourself I know you and I were talking about potential colleges, and I know right now it's, still in that process and such. What do you have as far as what are you expecting from yourself this season?
This season, especially practice wise, the thing that I've been working on in the off season was power. I always had the contact. I was batting 500 for most of the year. Strikeout wise, I only struck out 3 times in the regular year. So power was the only thing, in my opinion, that I was missing. But I'm not someone who also likes to focus on numbers a lot. I'm more of the win loss column type of guy. That even if I strike out 3 times, but we won, I had a bad game, but at the end of the day, we still won. And overall, like to sum up my whole high school career, what I would love is to be able to play good enough to make it all state. My first year didn't get anything. Then next year on VL, I'll love just one more step up now.
Now, those strikeouts, do you remember who it was against, what pitcher, and what pitch was it?
Yes, he does. He remembers that.
All right, let's hear it because I'm sure it had to be probably Belcher or one of the St. Paul arms that they had, right? No, was it? Who was
It
it?
was it was a St. Paul arm, but can you guess which?
Was it Foley,
Yeah.
the lefty?
Yeah.
Okay, so who were the other two? What teams were they?
Finati was 2 of them,
Okay,
and Foley was 1.
really?
Wait, no. I think they were all Tenati, actually. Yeah, all
Yeah,
Tenati.
we didn't see Foley
Yeah.
last year. We
No,
only
we
saw in Leggett.
Oh,
Yep.
so he owned you then. He's got your number.
It was funny because I always worked out with him at lift, so we did go back and forth.
He owned you. He owned you, buddy.
I gotta be honest, he did.
He
But
probably has his name in your glove, like I own AJ or something like that.
I mean, he did strike me out twice, but I did hit a home run last inning to make it a close game, and I'm gonna live on that one.
Although, but you didn't win though.
Yes,
Like you said, gotta win those games.
that's true.
It's true.
But guys, we're just about running out of time. Coach, I appreciate you coming on. A lot of fun. Best of luck this season, and please stay in touch.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for having us on.
Always. AJ, pleasure to be able to have you on. He was the one that kind of started this whole process, so he deserves a lot of the credit. AJ, I appreciate you coming on, man.
Absolutely. Go Eagles.
Now, wrap things up here in the Connecticut Sports Talent Show. So until next time, stay safe. And remember, CT stands for Connecticut Talent. I'm returning, find them all. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody, and be well.